Hello Year 11. Today's lesson focuses on questions 3b and 3c. So the first thing I need you to do is copy down question 3b. That is, study interpretations 1 and 2. They give different views on the consequences of the Munich Putsch of 1923. Explain your answer using details from both interpretations. You need to put that in your book as your title. Okay, Year 11. Now we need to do stage 1, which is preparation. So I need you to draw a very simple table into your books with interpretation 1 on one side, interpretation 2 on the other. Then, once you've read interpretation 1, you need to find and summarize the view it has on the consequences of the Munich Putsch in your own words, and then find precise quotes and details from the interpretation that have allowed you to come to that view. And then obviously you need to repeat for interpretation 2, but this time find the opposing view and summarize it in your own words, and again add a detail or quote from the interpretation that has allowed you to come to this opposing view. Now we can write up our research, and again we're going to limit ourselves to 4 or 5 sentences because this is only a short answer. So you need to begin it in a certain way to get the marks. So I've started it for you. Interpretation 1's view is that the putsch was a failure. This is shown where the interpretation says, shows, and at this point you should be able to put in your evidence. You then need to make a contrast, so you need to begin. However, interpretation 2's view is different. It suggests, and then put your summary of interpretation 2's view in here, followed by the evidence that's allowed you to adopt that view. And that's all you need to do for this question. Okay, now we need to move on to question 3c. So you need to put this as a subheading. Suggest one reason why interpretations 1 and 2 give different views about the consequences of the Munich Putsch of 1923. You may use sources B and C to help explain your answer. Now again, this is only a short answer. You only get 4 marks, so you don't need to write a huge amount. But this is about explaining why historians can have different views. It is not about explaining the differences in the interpretations again. We've done that. So we're going to teach you a really simple technique to answer this short question. You just need to remember how. It will work on any topic or set of interpretations. So remember, you've already analysed source B and source C. So your first step is to match source B and source C with the interpretations they support. So when you read interpretation 1, there should be a source that matches the view in interpretation 1. When you read interpretation 2, there should be a source that kind of matches that view as well. Now we can use the sources to explain why the interpretations are different. And to do this, we just need to follow a set writing frame, which is on the next slide. So I've completed the first paragraph for you. The interpretations differ because the historians who wrote them may have given more weight to different sources. For example, it may be likely that the author of interpretation 1 has used evidence like source C, informing the viewpoint that the putsch was a failure. For example, source C shows the Nazis being met by the police and the army and the putsch ending in failure. So again, we've been able to use a source there just to explain why the author of interpretation 1 has come to the conclusion that the putsch was a failure. So we need to copy that as our first half of our answer, and then we need to complete on our own the second half of the answer, which just seeks to explain why the author of interpretation 2 might have reached the view he did. That's what you need to do next.